Hello everyone. It is Jackie from Pocket of Preschool, and tonight I want to share a fun activity that you can do with your kiddos. So it starts as an individual activity, and then the class works together to create a giant map. So we did this in my classroom for a community helper theme, but you can also make this giant map for a family theme, or just kind of any time during the year, because it's just a really fun activity. So you can see the one my kiddos made. It's right behind me, so it's huge. So it starts, I'm gonna bend down over here. It goes all the way over there. So it's a huge map. So it was really fun to make, and then they actually played on it after we made it as a class. So everybody made their own house, and that was a 2-day project. And then the next day, we added all the roads, and then the last thing we did was add the grass or the greenery. And then the last thing they did was play on it with little Matchbox cars. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through it. We're gonna make one kind of together. But yeah, it's just a super fun activity. And you can also have each kid do their own if you didn't want to do a giant one. So we're gonna kind of make one together. So like I said, I'm gonna show you guys how to make this giant map. So what we're gonna do is each kiddo makes their house. And what I did is I just used cardstock. So I took one piece of cardstock and I just cut it in half to make the bottom part of the house. And I let them decide if they wanted a long house or a tall house. So we got to talk about long or tall. So we got snuck in some math vocabulary, and then I had the roofs in the middle of the table, like the triangles. So they had to match it. So I had tall triangles and long triangles, and they had to, if they picked, they wanted their house tall, they had to pick a roof that matched. So again, sneaking in more spatial reasoning, because this one would be for the tall house, and then because this one would be too short for the long house. So they had to pick the long triangle for the long house. So it was just kind of some fun spatial reasoning, kind of like a little puzzle game. And they got choice in the activity, which always gets them even more excited, right? So I used just a half a sheet of paper on the big map, but if you want to do one that's smaller, you can always give them a smaller one. These are the ones I'm going to show you today. So this is just a 4th sheet. So I just cut it one more time, and that's that size. So if they want to do a long house, and then they got to pick their long roof, and then I had tape on the table. This is just like that colored masking tape, and then they got to put their house together. And then we used paint sticks because we did this activity for a community helper theme, which is at the beginning of the year, and when we're still learning all those routines, so paint's kind of messy. So basically all they did was color their house with their paint sticks, and I love these because they dry super fast. You can get them on Amazon or these are the Quick Stick brand. So you can get that one's all gone. You can get any brand. They all work great, at least from what I have found. That one's dried up. Okay, 3rd time's a charm, right, guys? Okay, so they just color their roof and their house now that they match. And then I let them dry for a whole day, because picking their if they wanted a long or a tall house and finding the matching roof, and then coloring in and putting it together, that took a whole table time activity. So, because they're 3, 4, and 5, and that takes a long time for them, and their attention span's short. So that was our whole activity for the one day. And then I just wrote their names on the back. And then the next day we had all their little houses, and then we talked about what a house needs. So houses need windows and doors or shutters, and we just kind of talked all of the different things. What's are on a house, what is on their house, what's on their neighbor's house, what's on our school. And then they used Sharpie to add the details. So then we talked a lot about shapes too, like what shape is your door? Oh, it's a rectangle. So then they had to draw a rectangle, and then they got to draw their little windows, and maybe there was a window, or some people wanted shingles, or you can tell some, I can't pull that one off, but some just scribbled, that little guy, he just scribbled all over it. That was his big door and his big window because he was 3, and that is perfectly okay because that's exactly where he was. That little lady wanted circle windows. This one was a pre-K kiddo. You can tell there's more about like a house and or more like rectangle doors. But they kind of all did different based on what they wanted. Some did really tiny, so it kind of looked like a skyscraper. But it was great because they all had their own individual houses, and now they had all the details. So then that was again another like quick table time or small group, and then I had the big piece of butcher paper, and they just got to put them on the paper before they left that day. So the next day they came, they were all on the giant piece of butcher paper. And then what I did was I took just like a black paint or black marker, and I just drew kind of the starts of a road. And you can tell, I had curves, I had straightaways, I had parts that overlapped and interlocked, or overlapped and interlocked. And then what they did was, I actually used smaller cars, but I couldn't find mine. I have these little cars that I typically used to paint with, but I can't find them right now, of course. And then I think we did 5 kids at a time, probably need more paint. And then they got to drive the cars in the paint to make the road. And you can tell they went like back and forth and up and down and around. And they were littler cars, so the roads were littler, or the wheels. So they actually used cars to make the road. And I actually video recorded them, so I'll try and put a video together for you guys too. But since it was so big, it was also actually a really great activity because it was also great for social skills because they had to share space. They had to share the same piece of paper, right? They were all working on the same one. You can tell some went through the grass a little bit. It happens. They're 3, 4, and 5. But they had to share space. They had to take turns using the plate of paint. They had to do problem solving on how to get more paint on their wheels when they ran out. They had to stay on the track, which is some great beginning pre-writing. It's just on a really big scale, right? They're just tracing those lines. So there was so much learning going on and just them making the road. So each part had its own set of objectives and learning goals, you could say, for each piece. So yeah, but the roads, I think they had the most fun on. And then the next day, once that dried, I just, these loofahs from like Dollar Tree. So I have these in my paint drawer because I love using them for paint. And then we just kind of took those. I think I had some other like sponges, but we took those, and then because the black paint was dry from the roads from the day before, and they got to fill in kind of all of the space that was green. And they had a blast. And I actually just had that set up in the art center. It was on the floor in the art center. So it really wasn't like a small group or anything. It was just for the kids who kind of wanted to do the green space. So that was just our art activity for that day. And you had a blast using these little loofahs. And look how neat the texture is on that. So cool. And you can get like a package of these. I think you get like 3 for $1 or something. But they're so much fun for paint, and they wash so easily. You can just like rinse them off. So fun. And they create a great texture. And look at this grip. When they're gripping the loofah, it's lots and lots of fine motor work right there. And they have to push down, which is then, again, they're using their upper arms. And when they were painting with the trucks or the cars, they were having to use this upper arm. And we all know that our muscles develop from our core, right? We have to have a strong core. We have to have strong shoulders and arms to have strong fingers for writing. And we do need really strong shoulders for when they write and they're moving their pencils and things like that. So those strong shoulders are super, super important. So this really big giant map was really great for all of those things. And it got them all working together, interacting. And especially with this year, with COVID, with kiddos not having all of those social skills coming in the door like they typically would pre-COVID, this is a great activity for them to start sharing space, sharing supplies. They each did have their own car and they each did have their own loofah, but they did still have to share the paint and they had to wait. So again, just those little opportunities to practice waiting and practice taking turns and sharing space and things are just, all those little things will build all those social skills, and you can do lots of sneak in academics and all the other skills too. I want to show you how our masterpiece turned out, so that way if you wanted to do a smaller one you could. Hold on, let me get these houses to stick so you can kind of see too. So here's like a smaller one you could do too. So, and you could even do even smaller if you want to do them on smaller paper. But I'm going to actually grab the camera and I'm going to flip it around and show you this giant one up close when I'm done. Because it's the houses are so cool, and I love seeing how the threes completely scribble, and then the pre-K kids or some of the 3-year-olds have very detailed drawings. But I just have a couple other ideas if you wanted to do more community activities and maps. I actually forgot to put, I have a whole blog post on a community helper theme, and I do have a whole Facebook Live all on a community helper theme. So if you want to watch those or check that out, I will pop those links in after I'm done. But also in that community helper theme, I have a freebie on my blog. So I have these really cool community signs. And so you can grab this free printable, and then I just taped them to the back of Jenga blocks. I love using Jenga blocks for making new blocks, I guess, out of Jenga blocks. But like you can have a restaurant and a pizza restaurant, but there's a ton. It comes with a ton of different places in the community, a dentist, an auto shop, a post office, so they can make giant communities in the block center, and this sneaks in tons of environmental print. So even though they're saying they're building their bakery and they're really just reading the pictures, they can say, you can point out the text and say, oh, look, that word says bakery, bakery has a B at the beginning. So again, just sneaking in all of that environmental print that you can is always super fun. And again, these community helper signs or community places signs are free on my blog. Even a recycling center, a farm, fire station, so much fun. Okay, so oh, one more thing. So I know the Dollar Spot used to have this really cool road tape. It was literally like that thick, like the thicker tape, but it was just like a road. And I put it on the floor one year, and I did not like peeling it off because they rode the cars on it so much, it was super hard to get off. So what you can do instead, or you can even make this on your own, you can like DIY it, but I put the road tape on black cardstock, and then I cut it different lengths, and then you got road pieces. Or you can just take black cardstock and just put paint a yellow dotted line down the middle. You can do that too and make your own road, so that way you're not having to put tape on the floor. And then they're also building and creating their own road around their building, so it even makes it even more open-ended. So if you want to make your own roads for the block center with the community blocks, this is a fun little trick. All right, so here it is. So you can see here's one little house with all the details. And oh my gosh, I love how each one is unique and amazing. And I love the conversation that happened too as they were talking about the houses, as they were making them. It was just pretty awesome. This little guy didn't want any. I was like, okay, that's fine too. There's that one, and that one, and then that one, and then here's kind of an up close. This part looks like a sponge more than the loofah. But, and you can see all the roads and all the tracks. And then we actually put this, so that's just a big giant piece of just like butcher paper. So it's just like that big roll of paper that like you get in like the teacher workroom, or you can get it, you can get like a smaller roll of the butcher paper. like on a roll. I know IKEA has some smaller stuff, and you can get it like in the like art section, or if you search butcher paper, it'll pop up there. You can also use like actual, if you go to like Sam's has actual butcher paper that like the meat department uses. That's great too. You can use that. It's perfect for all of this stuff. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the activity idea. Hope you guys try it in your classrooms. If you guys try it out, make sure you tag me on Instagram or Facebook, or I'm on TikTok. You guys, again, try it and share it in the Facebook group if you guys try it out, or if you guys take my idea and like kind of tweak it or like twist it to make it kind of your own. I love that. I love when you guys take mine and kind of go with it to make it fit the needs of your kiddos in your classroom. So make sure you guys tag me in that. So I hope you guys have an awesome night.